The athlete relies on more than 400 bones and joints. And when they don't work together, you can trust one team that's equally committed to keeping you in the game. At the Bone and Joint Clinic of Baton Rouge, our dedicated sports medicine physicians work with athletes every day to make healing as painless and simple as possible. Because we know where you'd rather be.
It's time to move up to the luxury of Long Ridge, a gated luxury community featuring beautiful landscaped grounds, pool, executive business center, and state-of-the-art fitness center. Each unit features 9-foot ceilings, ceiling fans, kitchen with microwave, utility room with washer and dryer, a garden tub in the back, walk-in closets, and a private patio or balcony for entertaining your guests. Explore living beyond the ordinary. Come home to Long Ridge Luxury Apartments, just off Sherwood across from Piccadilly.
Imagine a sale that can bring your style to life for less. The Bassett Anniversary Sale. Save throughout the store on pieces for every room in your home, delivered in a remarkable 30 days. Bring your style to life with our new introductions and in-home design service. Save store-wide and take advantage of special financing. The Bassett Anniversary Sale. Save up to 25% store-wide. Sale ends soon.
Welcome back to Louisiana Football TV Magazine. The number to call is 499-8255. I know everybody's happy to, I'm going to be working, but Thanksgiving Day, and I know, Coach, you're going to be working probably a little bit, getting this game plan ready for the Wolves.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. We've worked a lot of Thanksgiving since we've been in Parkview, but, you know, it's a labor of love because that's where you want to be this time of the year.
Coach Semino, I want to go ahead and tell you, mention some running backs. Before you, currently, during your time, who do you compare your style to? There's Brant that's coming on later tonight that, has done a great job. Who do you like overall? Mention some of the guys that have run the ball behind those big O-lines.
Some of the guys, even before Coach Gee out there that I used to watch coming up, Paul Plaisance, Brandon Bourgeois, Joe Labe, some of those guys that just really ran the football hard. Brandon Bourgeois was a phenomenal athlete. And some of the guys that have come along since Coach got there, the Jacob Richardsons and Josh Sun, just play with a passion that, second to none, and love watching him run the ball. While I was there, I got the pleasure of playing with Brad Booth and Jordy Johnson, Chase DuPlessis. They were all in the same backfield that I was. And,
Jordy went to McNeese.
Jordy went to McNeese, and Brad went on to Air Force, and then he transferred to Sanford, played free safety there for 3 years and had a good career there. So, all those guys, I was pleased to be able to be in the same backfield with them because they were all physical, they were all hard nosed, and they all like to run the football downhill.
Any stories, Coach, about with the O-line and running backs that Coach, running that power offense? Any halftime speeches? Anything that sticks out?
We were talking a little bit before. I asked him permission to be able to talk about this, but me and Chase DuPlessis, Chase rushed for about 1,300 yards, and one of the leading receivers in Parkview history also. We were both in the backfield and had been starting for a couple of years. And at the halftime of the Port Allen game our senior year, Coach came in none too happy because they had injured our quarterback, Brad Booth. And, we were all kind of fired up about that because we thought he had taken a cheap shot. Well, we had retaliated a little bit, and Coach came in at halftime madder than I've ever seen him before. And I happened to not be smart enough to take a knee right in front of him in the center of the circle. And Coach locked on me pretty good and tossed me across the floor. And it was a floor kind of like this, and I ended up on my back kind of like a turtle. Then the next person he tossed was Chase DuPlessis. So he's not afraid to toss the starters or the guys who don't play a whole lot.
Yeah, well, that's why you win.
That's
you
right.
Keep things going. And Coach, the O-line, you love power football.
I think the O-line like to run the ball. You go to the NFL on down and you hear them talk about it. When they run the ball, it's man on man. Let's go get it on. It's the old street fight mentality. And I just like the demeanor of them because they're very humble guys and they work their tails off. And these other guys around them getting all this credit, and they're just happy doing their thing, and they're just a real tight fit group. And I just really enjoy being around those guys.
Coach, what is the hardest thing for an O-lineman to learn in your system?
Well, I think the
out.
hardest thing for any O-lineman to learn is just to move their feet, to try to not lose their balance, try not to hit and fall on the ground and stuff like that. We pride ourselves in trying to get up and get out downfield, and just complications of defense now is people don't understand. Like, you know, we go in a ball game thinking they're going to run a 4-3, and they may run a 5-1, a 40, a 4-3, and a 3-3. You know,
Right.
and it's all, you know, changing at the line of scrimmage. I mean, these guys have to be smart and agile and hostile, so to speak. I mean, they got to be good football players, and they got to make adjustments on the run.
And at any time, your quarterback, who's like another running
Oh, yeah,
back.
he's going to change the play. He's going to, right when we get zeroed in over here, he's going to change it over there.
And
then we got to start all over again.
And if you got an injury like this past week, your starting quarterback, I think, was in the hospital, right?
He was.
And
He had pneumonia.
And
Sure
you
was.
didn't have so you always have to have two quarterbacks ready in that offense
Oh, yeah.
to go at all times, right?
Yeah. We've been very fortunate. You know, Coach B.L. Fairchild, he played at Struma and he coached with me. I coached with him for years. You know, he told me one time, and this is the kind of philosophy I have, you know, that second team guy, the backup guy, wants to play just as bad as the first team guy. And all he needs is a chance. So when somebody gets injured, we try not to make a big deal out of it and just move him in there. And usually 90% of the time they can do a great job for you.
Coach,
They do.
who in your opinion you look up to teaching O-line when you were coming up? What coach taught you a lot about how to be successful teaching O-line and in the trenches? Anybody that was a catalyst to learning from?
I went and talked to Dave McCarty when I first started coaching. I was telling this to, I think, David the other day. I was at Broadmoor High School working for Vic Stelly, and I was coaching the O-line, and I didn't know anything about it. And he said, why don't you go talk to Dave McCarty at LSU? And I called Dave McCarty, didn't know him, didn't play at LSU, didn't have any association with him. And that's when the stadium was where the coaches were, you know, the offices. And I called him and spent about 3 hours with him, and he kind of got me through it. And then I had a great offensive line coach in college. He's the one that got me doing the board drill and all those kind of things. And then I was telling you, we went to Cincinnati, and I spent some time up there with that.
That's when the Bengals went to Super Bowl.
Yeah. Their line coach was, I can't remember.
Joe Clark? Or,
No, Dave McNally.
Okay.
McNally. And
Okay.
he was one of the recognized best offensive line coaches in the NFL. And I learned a lot. We spent about 4 days with him. And we were lucky to go there because Joe Clark knew Lindy and Fanny, who was the offense coordinator. And Steve Ensminger was with me, Ron Brown and Joe, and we drove up there and had a very good session. But I try to learn from everybody. You know, Petey Perro's a good friend of mine, and every time I see him, I talk to him. Stu Dreyer and Stacy Searles, all those different guys, when they come out of school recruiting, I ask them different things and trying to learn what's the best way to do something. In fact, I was out at LSU today, and Lyle Hitt, I was talking to him about how they cut off so I could help Cornel and those other guys with cutoff blocks and things like that. So you never finish the learning process. You're constantly trying to get an edge. You're constantly trying to learn new things and know what's out there so you can help your kids play better.
And Petey, you mentioned Petey Perot played many years with the Eagles, played in the Super Bowl against the Raiders. I think
did.
Kenny King was MVP for the Raiders. They had a guy named Jim Plunkett, who was the first pick in the draft of the Patriots, got cut and won 2 Super Bowls for Al Davis. You know, they talk bad about Al Davis, but he's got several Super Bowl wins. We'll come back. We got more with Coach David Semino. We're going to ask him about the pit that Coach put in years ago and the success behind that with the linemen and the running backs. We'll have some more time with Coach Guillot. Later in the show, we got a bunch of recruits from Parkview and Catholic High. We're going to let these guys speak, talk about where they're going to go to school or where they'd like to go to school. You're watching Louisiana Football TV Magazine.